On the first anniversary of Modi Government 2.0, Prime Minister Narendra Modi writes letter to fellow Indians, says India will set an example in economic revival, letter to reach 100 million families across the country. In his letter to fellow citizens, Prime Minister says India must become self-reliant and move forward on our own abilities in our own way through Atmanirbhar Bharat. Prime Minister says the hard work and talent of our workers will reduce India's dependence on imports. On the completion of 1 year Modi Government 2.0, Bharatiya Janata Party to hold several online events to highlight the achievements of the government. Party Chief JP Nadda to address party workers via Facebook today. Government continues to bring back Indians stranded abroad under the Vande Bharat mission. Thousands return home via various flights. Active COVID-19 cases in India rise to 86,422 with over 82,369 recoveries and 4,971 fatalities. Globally, coronavirus cases rise over 59,16,000 while the death toll crosses 3,64,000. Good morning, welcome to English News. I am Anil Thomas. Now for the stories in detail. Starting first up with the Narendra Modi-led government marks the first anniversary of its second term today, and the Prime Minister has written a letter to the fellow citizens to highlight the achievements of his government. He also reiterated the country's resolve in combating the COVID-19 outbreak. Well, let's take a look at some of the 20 highlights from this particular letter that we have picked for you. The first highlight that we're talking about in this particular letter that the Prime Minister has written to the fellow citizens: India achieving financial inclusion, free gas and electricity connections, total sanitation coverage, and have made progress towards ensuring housing for all. Surgical strike and air strike demonstrated India's mettle. Article 370 Ram Mandir Judgment Amendment to the Citizenship Act further the spirit of inclusiveness, also national unity and integration. Barbaric practice of triple talaq ends. The creation of the post of the Chief of Defence Staff was a long pending reform that has improved the coordination among the armed forces. PM Kisan Samman Nidhi now includes all farmers. In 1 year, more than 72,000 crore have been deposited in the account of 9 crore 50 lakh farmers. The Jal Jeevan Mission will ensure the supply of potable drinking water through pipe connections to over 15 crore rural households. Farmers, farm labourers, small shopkeepers and workers in unorganized sector are assured the provision of regular monthly pension of 3,000 after the age of 60 years. National Traders Welfare Board constituted for timely resolution of problems of the traders. Higher quantum of financial assistance provided to more than 7 crore women attached to self-help groups. While keeping in mind the education of tribal children, the government began the construction of more than 400 new Eklavya model residential schools. A separate department created there for the inclusion and the creation of fishermen to strengthen this particular sector. Many decisions being taken to strengthen that particular sector when it comes to the fisheries department. Point number 10, Parliament registers record in terms of productivity. Laws to provide more protection to women, children and Divyangs being created and passed. Parliament registers record in terms of India. Many fear that India will become a problem for the world when COVID-19 hit India, but today through sheer confidence, India has been able and resilience, India has transformed the way the world looks at us. India shows that Ek Bharat is a guarantee for Shresth Bharat by faithful adherence to the rules during the nationwide lockdown, be it clapping and lighting a lamp to honoring the Corona warriors. India has followed all that has been said. Laborers and migrant workers have undergone tremendous suffering during the COVID times, and the government is working in a united and determined way to remove or to alleviate all their troubles. Every Indian must follow guidelines to combat COVID. We have displayed patience, which is the reason for India being in a better state than many other countries of the world. In the last few days, a super cyclone has wreaked havoc in parts of West Bengal and Odisha. Resilience of the people of these states is noteworthy. Their courage inspires the people of India. PM said there was a firm belief that India will also set an example in economic revival. In the economic domain, through their strength, the 130 crore Indians can not only surprise the world, but also inspire it. India must become self-reliant and move forward based on our own abilities in our own way, and there is only one way to do it: Atmanirbhar Bharat. 20 lakh crore package given for Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. The fragrance of Indian soil, along with the sweat, hard work and talent of our workers, will create products that will reduce India's dependence on imports. Prime Minister said he was aware of the fact that there is a lot that needs to be done. There are many challenges and problems that our country faces, but there is nothing that India lacks. Finally, 130 crore Indians will decide our present and our future, and India will move ahead on the path of progress. Well, to get a perspective of this particular letter to the fellow citizens of our country, joining us is senior journalist Shekhar Iyer this morning. Shekhar, good morning. Shekhar, a letter to the nation on completion of 1 year of this particular transformative government, and in the midst of a crisis, what does it tell? Does it talk about a firm resolve that it has on taking on the challenges and looking at the road ahead?
Good morning, Anil. The Prime Minister's message this morning in the form of a letter to all citizens is a very, very significant, because it not only, reinforces the message of self-reliance, but also talks of the message of self-confidence. And the Prime Minister has made it clear that his government, which came with a huge mandate in 2014 and followed it up with a second mandate after 5 years, is committed to improving the lot of the Indians in all areas, in all sectors. We have seen the number of decisions that were taken in the first 5 years, whether it was opening Jan Dhan Yojana, whether it was bringing Ayushman Bharat by way of providing medical health care insurance, or whether it is in terms of bringing Swachh Bharat, a Clean India campaign. And in all this, the idea was the lot of the poor people should improve. Similarly, in the last 1 year, after the huge mandate in 2019, whatever steps that have been taken, particularly we have seen some of the steps that which you just mentioned, which the Prime Minister said. The whole idea is that we should go for big reforms, we should go for structural changes, we should create better infrastructure in the country, we should improve the lot of the farmers, and we should also try to tap the unused potential of the people. That is the focus of this government, that is the priority of this government, and this has been undertaken. The Prime Minister is very candid in his letter. He understands the sufferings of millions of our countrymen who have undergone because of this challenge posed by coronavirus. He says we will have to accept the fact that so many people have taken so much of burden, but there is a light at the end of this tunnel. We are going to overcome this, the situation caused by this pandemic. And the Prime Minister says that is because India has that resilience power. India has that power, and that power comes from the people. It's the people of this country who have shown that how much of burden they can carry and how they are confident that the future is secured. And whatever they are undergoing today, those things will one day go away and their lives will improve. Because they have seen what has happened in the last 4 years, from 2014 to 2019. And today, we know that, whether it is special scheme for farmers, where they have been getting money directly into their bank account, or whether it is pension for old people. So there are several schemes that have been happened, or even the very fact that today we can think of directly transferring money to the people. That is because of the Jan Dhan Yojana. So all these things which required huge imagination, and huge effort in implementation. Those have happened. But a lot more needs to be done. That is what the Prime Minister says. We have to work hard, we have to bring the transformation, and we are going to do it.
Shekhar,
the big message that coming is that we are confident, we will do it, and we will overcome our problems.
Shekhar, when you look at this particular first year of the second term, has it assured the people of this country that the dreams that they have that could be realized with this particular letter that the Prime Minister has written to the fellow citizens?
See, what the Prime Minister has pointed out is, see, though many things were done between 2014 to 2019, a lot more remains to be done. The Prime Minister has never said, we have done everything.
Okay.
No, lot more has been done. But at the same time, what is to be looked forward is, because of the situation caused by the slowdown in economy and the new challenge that came by way of this pandemic, they have put additional burden on us. That burden has to be removed, that burden has to be tackled. That is what the government is doing now, and we are confident in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, we will overcome this present crisis and we will be back on the path of development and progress.
Shekhar, do you feel there is an unprecedented example when you purely look at this particular letter that the Prime Minister has written, purely of coordination that exists between creation and reform?
Definitely. You see, one thing we must appreciate the fact, this is the first Prime Minister who has been personally monitoring the implementation of every scheme. The Prime Minister office has been involved in monitoring the progress of every announcement, every cabinet decision. We all know about the famous Pragati exercise, where the entire PMO sits along with Cabinet Secretary in direct consultation with the Chief Secretaries of the state. So many projects which were pending for more than 3 decades, they were all cleared in the last 5 years. And in the manner in which the infrastructure was taken up. And also we saw last year in September, the government had announced 1 lakh crore package for just creation of infrastructure. Because through that only you can create jobs. And also we have seen in this 20 lakh crore package which was announced to overcome the situation caused by pandemic. If you look at it, you will see there is something for every sector, whether it is MSMEs, whether it is farmers, or whether it is even street vendors, street hawkers. See, the whole idea of the Prime Minister, the approach of the Prime Minister is that the way forward is not by way of giving some money here and there, and that is not the solution. The solution lies in empowering the poorest of the poor. You empower them when you create avenues for their employment, and there's some way they can get some money, every day, particularly the daily wage earners. So if you look at the schemes that came with this 20 lakh crore package, the people felt, why cash was not given. No, giving cash is not one-stop permanent solution. What you need to do is somehow ensure they are able to earn on their own. For that purpose, a loan they can take from 10,000 rupees to 10 crore rupees, small businessmen, small traders. The whole idea is we have to look at it both in micro level as well as in macro level. So that is the message, that was the purpose of the package. Now, Prime Minister has made it very clear that lot of it depends on implementation, and he is committed to this exercise of implementation, which has to be followed up in full rigor, in full force, and that is the objective of the Prime Minister.
Okay, looking at this 20 lakh crore package that was, that was put forward to fight the pandemic and the lockdown, do you somewhere feel it's showcased a new dawn of, self-reliant India?
You see, that is the central message of the package and central message that the Prime Minister has said.
Okay.
Atma Vishwas and Atma Nirbhar, self-confidence and self-reliance, these are related. So the idea is, if you want the self-confidence of the people, particularly the very poor people, if you want them to be self-confident, you have to make them stand on their legs. See, and because you can have short-term measures of providing some relief by way of some schemes, by Manrega and all that. But ultimately, our people, people are after all individuals who have their aspirations, who want to do something. And the Prime Minister has always said, we need to tap the aspirational aspect of every Indian. And that can only be done by empowering them with such schemes that makes them stand on their own legs. Because that is actually the self-reliant India. And also, in terms of industries and trade, because this coronavirus has opened our eyes to the fact you cannot be dependent to any other country, outside for your raw materials, for your basic things. So this has been proven by this coronavirus. And we have also seen the very fact 2 months ago, we didn't have any big manufacturing of personal protection equipment, PPE. But we have seen in the last two months, the manner in which several units have got into making PPE for our own hospitals. So therefore, the answer lies in, doing something in such a way that we strengthen the base of India. We strengthen the rural India. And that is what the Prime Minister said, recalling how, he has provided for several schemes. And particularly, nobody talked of a blue revolution before, a blue economy before. So these are the central messages that comes from the Prime Minister's letter to all citizens today, marking the first anniversary of the second term.
Okay, Shekhar, purely before I let you go, some significant moments of Modi 2.0 when you look at it at the end of 365 days, how would you look at it? Which are the significant, ideological milestones that we have seen in the last 365 days? Also the political landscapes and the coronavirus challenge that's before the government of not only India but across the world.
See, the first thing we have to remember that as soon as the government came, it immediately brought the legislation of triple talaq. This was a legislation which was delayed for a long time because of various considerations of the opposition parties. But the Prime Minister was keen that the Muslim women, Muslim sisters do not suffer from the dissolution of their marriage through arbitrary means. So the Prime Minister ensured that law was enacted to outlaw such practices. The second thing was the Citizen Amendment Act, which was it was a long commitment made by previous governments too, but nobody tried to do something. This was to give citizenship on a fast-track basis, without denying citizenship to any others. A fast-track basis to those who have suffered religious persecution in the neighboring countries. But unfortunately, opposition did not appreciate the spirit behind this act, and we saw a senseless agitation in different parts of the country, which had no meaning on the basis of unnecessary fear and unnecessary apprehension. But nevertheless, it was done. The third thing I feel in terms of political management also, after the Supreme Court gave the verdict on Ayodhya temple, we have seen how all communities accepted the verdict and there was peace in the country. That is also another achievement for which the Modi government has to be credited, because we saw that a long pending issue, which was a festering problem, was put at rest. And we must compliment the Supreme Court also for coming up with such a verdict. Now, after that, we have seen the other issue was the challenge posed by the economy. For global reasons and for various reasons, we saw a slowdown coming. See, after the first budget of this second term in July, we saw the government coming up with more economic stimulus package in September. Corporate tax in the country was reduced to the lowest in Asia. The idea was to spur the economy, to enable our captains of industries to think of doing more, to go for more expansion. But unfortunately, after that, by the time these stimulus package began to work, we saw the arrival of pandemic. And the pandemic meant, imposing a lockdown. And that lockdown for more than 60 days now has been a big challenge because it has brought our economy to a standstill. But things are now picking up. Things are being opened up in a staggered way. But the way we countered the spread of the disease. See, today, that 2-month period has enabled us to create extra medical infrastructure, to create more PPE, so on.
The steps being taken in the right direction, Prime Minister Modi, they're turning India into a self-reliant country, brimming with self-confidence. We'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us, Shekhar, here this morning with those updates there on the Prime Minister's letter to the fellow citizens of his country. Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of news. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Take care.